You are a lifelong Raiders fan.
Yes.
And now Tom Brady in the ownership group, who's also a mentor of Shedeur Sanders. Do you wish the Raiders would have drafted Shedeur?
Yeah, I do. I do wish we would have got Prime's son. But look, here's my theory on why he went in the 5th round. Because anybody who drafted him may have been drafting the player that would get him fired. Because Prime Time want to coach his son in the NFL. So if there was a bad season, that coach should be gone. And Prime would be the coach. They was drafting in their best interest to keep their job.
Yo, Shedeur Sanders fans, buckle up because you're not going to believe what Ice Cube just revealed about why your boy slipped all the way to the 5th round of the NFL draft. And let me tell you straight, it has nothing to do with talent, nothing to do with skill, and everything to do with fear. According to Cube, NFL coaches weren't just hesitant about drafting Shedeur. They were absolutely terrified. Not of him, but of his father, the one and only Deion Primetime Sanders. That's right, Ice Cube didn't just throw out a casual opinion, he dropped a theory that instantly lit up the entire football world. And when you really start to think about it, his explanation makes a lot of sense. This wasn't just another draft slide. This wasn't about a kid who lacked ability. This was about power, politics, and one of the most fascinating father-son dynamics the NFL has ever seen. Now let's pause for a second. I've been following Shedeur since his Colorado days. And if you've watched him too, you know this guy is special. He's not just some college QB with inflated stats. He's the full package. Record-breaking numbers? Check. Ice-cold poise in the pocket? Check. Leadership that some NFL veterans would dream of having? Double check. Shedeur has that it factor that you can't teach. So when his name didn't get called until the 5th round, I was scratching my head just like everybody else. It felt wrong, confusing, almost insulting. But then Cube's interview dropped, and suddenly everything started to click. See, here's the thing. Ice Cube isn't just some random celebrity spitting hot takes for clout. This man built the Big Three basketball league. He's deeply connected with athletes across all sports, and he understands how the business side of things works. He knows how politics influence decisions that should be based on talent alone. So when he said teams weren't scared of Shedeur's ability, they were scared of Deion Sanders, it wasn't just speculation, it was insight. Think about it. You draft Shedeur Sanders, and instantly, the shadow of one of the most iconic athletes in history hovers over your entire organization. Coaches, executives, players, everybody knows that primetime is going to be watching. And not just watching quietly. Deion is charismatic, influential, and magnetic. If things don't go perfectly, coaches feared he might step in, interfere, or worse, completely take over the narrative. That's pressure most coaches don't want. You're already tasked with developing a rookie quarterback in the most cutthroat league in sports. That's stressful enough. Now imagine doing it while Deion Sanders, a Hall of Famer with unmatched swagger, is breathing down your neck, front row, cameras rolling, every move dissected by the media. No wonder teams got cold feet. And honestly, Ice Cube might be onto something. Just look at what Deion did at Colorado. He didn't just coach a football team, he flipped an entire culture on its head. He turned a program that had been struggling for years into one of the most talked about teams in college football almost overnight. Wherever Prime goes, everything changes. That's power, that's influence, that's intimidation for anybody not ready to handle it. But here's the twist: what makes Deion a blessing for Shedeur also makes him a curse. Because every time Shedeur steps onto the field, people don't just see Shedeur Sanders, they see Deion Sanders' son. And whether they admit it or not, that changes how scouts, coaches, and fans judge him. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Ice Cube didn't just stop at saying teams were scared of Deion's presence. He actually floated a wild idea. He suggested that maybe, just maybe, Deion Sanders himself should follow Shedeur into the NFL. Imagine that, a father-son duo making waves not just in college football, but on the professional stage. And Cube wasn't talking hypotheticals in the abstract. He even mentioned the Raiders as a potential landing spot, and you could hear the excitement in his voice. But behind all that hype, you could also sense Cube understood the complexity. This isn't just football we're talking about. It's about locker room politics, fragile coaching egos, and the power dynamics of an NFL franchise. Bringing Deion into the league, officially or unofficially, would change the chemistry of whatever team drafted Shedeur. Some coaches might welcome that energy, but others, they'd see it as a threat to their authority. And that's the heart of Cube's theory. NFL teams were scared of losing control. But here's the truth. Whether teams like it or not, Shedeur was always going to bring Deion's influence with him. That's unavoidable. And now that the Cleveland Browns finally took a chance on him in the 5th round, the real story begins. Think about the situation Shedeur is walking into. The Browns aren't asking him to be the savior on day one. They've got veterans like Deshaun Watson and even Joe Flacco in the room. Guys who've seen the highs and lows of this league. That means Shedeur gets to grow without the crushing weight of unrealistic expectations. He can sit back, learn, study film, adjust to the speed of the NFL, and develop at his own pace. And when the time comes for him to step on the field, that's when the league will see exactly what it passed on. But let's not sugarcoat this. What happened on draft day was a slap in the face. Shedeur didn't slide to the 5th round because of his performance. He slid because of perception, because of politics, because of who his father is. And that's unfair. He didn't choose to be Prime's son, but he's had to carry that weight since the moment he picked up a football. Every success is compared to his dad. Every failure is magnified because of his last name. And now, according to Ice Cube, that shadow directly cost him draft position. But here's the beautiful part. Sometimes life hands you exactly the obstacle you need to fuel greatness. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team. Tom Brady was drafted 199th overall. Both of those moments lit a fire that never went out. Now, Shedeur Sanders has 31 NFL teams to prove wrong. Every throw, every snap, every touchdown will carry that chip on his shoulder. And history shows us, guys with that kind of motivation often become unstoppable. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about proving people wrong. It's about showing the NFL that fear of Deion Sanders was never a valid excuse to pass on his son. And every time Shedeur lines up under center, he'll be carrying that mission with him. That's dangerous for every single team that let him slip. Here's the part that really frustrates me the most. Shedeur Sanders is being penalized for something completely outside his control. He didn't ask to be born into the shadow of one of the greatest athletes in history, yet every step of his journey has been measured against Deion Sanders' legend. Instead of celebrating his accomplishments, people nitpick, saying things like, "Well, of course he's good. Look who his dad is." That kind of constant comparison doesn't just put pressure on a young athlete, it creates unfair expectations. And now, according to Ice Cube's theory, that very shadow didn't just shape perception, it literally altered Shedeur's career path. Instead of being drafted where his talent truly placed him, somewhere in the 1st or 2nd round, he had to sit and wait until the 5th. That means less guaranteed money, fewer opportunities to prove himself early, and a label he didn't deserve. But here's the twist. What looks like a curse could actually turn into the biggest blessing of Shedeur's life. Think about it. Instead of being thrown to the wolves right away, he's got time. Time to learn from veterans, time to master the Browns system, and time to refine his game without every eye in the league dissecting him. This patience might actually give him the perfect setup to thrive long-term. And when he finally gets his shot, he won't just be playing for himself, he'll be playing for redemption, for respect, and for every kid who's ever been doubted because of something they couldn't control. And let's be clear, if Ice Cube is right, if NFL teams really passed on Shedeur because they were scared of Deion Sanders' influence, that says more about them than it does about Shedeur. Great organizations don't fear strong personalities. They embrace them. They find ways to harness that energy, to channel it into something powerful. The franchises that passed, they exposed their own insecurity. They revealed that instead of standing tall, they were afraid of being overshadowed. And here's what people don't seem to get. Deion Sanders isn't the kind of father who would sabotage his son's career. Quite the opposite. He spent years preparing Shedeur for this exact moment. He's not trying to be the coach of an NFL team. He's trying to be the father who pushes his son to succeed at the highest level. Yes, he's loud. Yes, he's flashy. But at the core, he's focused on building his son into a man who can stand on his own. And that's something every coach in the NFL should respect. Cube's take resonates because he understands what it feels like to be polarizing. He knows what it means to have people either embrace you or run from you because of your presence alone. That's why when he says NFL teams were scared of Prime, it doesn't sound crazy, it sounds real. And maybe, just maybe, it explains everything that left fans so confused on draft day. So now the stage is set. Shedeur isn't just another rookie quarterback, he's a symbol. A reminder that sometimes talent alone isn't enough. That politics, perception, and fear can rewrite the story. But if history has taught us anything, it's that guys like Shedeur use those slights as fuel. They turn disrespect into dominance. And when he finally steps on that field in Cleveland, the rest of the league better be ready. And here's where the story gets really powerful. Ice Cube's words weren't just an analysis, they were almost like a warning. Because if his theory is true, the NFL may have unintentionally created its own nightmare. By letting Shedeur Sanders slip to the 5th round, they've given him the ultimate weapon, motivation. Every game he plays, every throw he makes, every touchdown he scores, he's going to be fueled by the sting of being overlooked. Not because of his talent, but because of his father's shadow. That's the kind of chip on the shoulder that turns good players into legends. But let's not forget what makes this so unique. This isn't just Shedeur Sanders' journey, it's the continuation of a legacy. So here's the ultimate question. Was Ice Cube right? Did NFL coaches really let fear dictate their draft boards? Or was it all just politics, overthinking, and bad judgment? We may never get a straight answer, but one thing is undeniable. The story is because when Shedeur Sanders finally steps onto that field in Cleveland, the spotlight won't just be on him. It'll be on every single team that passed on him. And if he delivers the way I believe he will, this won't just be one of the NFL's biggest draft day mistakes. It'll go down as the start of one of the greatest revenge tours in league history. So buckle up, because this ride is only getting started. And something tells me Ice Cube's theory won't just be remembered as a hot take, it might go down as the truth everyone ignored. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin.